The best thing that you can do for this storm is have a plan. Have somewhere to go. If you are in a flood zone, you need to be ready for this storm. The thing about hurricanes is we can predict them a lot better than other natural disasters like wildfires, like tornadoes, like earthquakes. We don't see any of that stuff coming hardly. Hurricanes we can see coming, so there's no reason that you shouldn't be ready for something that we know is on its way. And before I kick this video off, I just want to let you guys know that proceeds from these videos go directly towards hurricane relief. We've been doing this for all of time. You guys like the videos, you help them go viral, you watch the whole thing. We make some money, we get to feed people, we get to give people supplies. It's just a beautiful thing. It's a mutually beneficial relationship between myself, you the fans, and the people out there that get affected by hurricanes. So without further ado, let's get into an update. I'm Jack Tenney of the JoogSquad. I am not an expert in hurricanes because I've been legally advised not to say that I'm an expert. I am a weather enthusiast. I'm a born and raised Florida man. I'm a born and raised surfer. When the hurricanes come, we get ready. My jet ski's in the water. We're going to catch some crazy waves. But the main goal for these videos is to inform you guys to keep people safe. I've been watching hurricanes my entire life. I've been attentively tracking them and documenting them on this YouTube channel over the last 10 plus years. And I have a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. Most of the time, I am way more correct than any of these other weathermen out there. Excuse my bird. She's chilling. Like I said, I've been tracking these things my entire life. I've lived through every single hurricane in the last 28 years in Florida, and I've seen a lot happen. So all that stuff aside, let's look at what we're talking about. Let's go straight to the National Hurricane Center. I'm going to try to make this a quick update. I was already at the City Hall earlier. People are already getting sandbags. We're already getting our emergency permits. Boom, or as I like to call them, our surfing permits. Haha. This allows us access back onto the island after the evacuation order is set in place, which I do believe is going to happen. All right. We have hurricane warnings over Pinellas County. Boom. Fresh update. It's currently noon right now. Red means hurricane warning. That was not there last night. Something else that I've noticed, this storm has been ramping up extremely quickly. They predicted that it would kind of go over Mexico, Cancun area, and then into the Gulf. It went straight towards Cuba, straight into the Caribbean, straight into open, warm water, and is now moving north. They're predicting it to be a hurricane by the end of today. And they're predicting it to be a major hurricane when it makes landfall at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. That is scary, scary stuff. Okay, something that I've said for all of time. If a hurricane hits north of Tampa Bay and passes by Tampa Bay close enough, it is the absolute worst case scenario. So, over my lifetime, I've seen a lot of tracks aim for Tampa Bay, and they always end up hitting south of Tampa Bay. For some reason, when hurricanes get close enough to the state of Florida, they get sucked towards the state. Something else we have to talk about is the driving currents of Franklin. I said this in yesterday's video. I'm going to say it again. When there's a bigger storm, the smaller storm, if it's close enough, typically will follow in the line of the bigger storm. So if we look here on Windy, as soon as Franklin starts pulling off towards the east, our storm should pretty much follow in its footsteps. So the problem I have with this, besides the fact that if this plays out, we're going to get crazy surge, is that every single storm I've ever seen hit the Gulf Coast of Florida hits south of the predicted track that the National Hurricane Center and that all these models and all these predictions say. It always hits south. I'm going to go to tropical tidbits real quick. All right, there she is. Lots of convection, blowing up, spitting out thunderstorms. Wow. It's just sitting there, not moving, strengthening, all this convection going on. No clear eye yet on the satellite, but I'm sure if we look at the lower atmosphere winds, we'll see that. And they're pretty confident about the track. They're pretty confident about this potentially being a worst case scenario outcome for the Tampa Bay area. It really all depends on how much this thing strengthens before it hits shore. Most hurricanes die out as they approach the shoreline. Because this one is stalling and then quickly skirting across the peninsula of Florida, it's going to bring some really, really, really crazy weather along with it. All right, I'm going to go back to Mike's weather page. We'll look at the Euro track. We'll look at the GFS track. We'll check out the millibars to see what they're predicting for this thing. Something to note, several days ago, wasn't really showing anything below 990 millibars. I think that's going to change now. Damn, 170 before landfall. I've been watching this storm for a week and a half, like as far out as you can watch this storm. But I don't really like to make videos on these storms until we're certain of what they're going to do because, I mean, everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to be the first one to talk about the storm. But I just talk about the storms when it's important. I cut the bullshit. I tell you guys what you need to know to stay safe. What we know now is if this storm hits north of us, we will see record flooding across the Gulf Coast of Florida. I'm talking neighborhoods underwater. Check this out. Let me see if I can get a chart for you guys. Boom. 3.5 foot. 3.3. It's one of the highest tides we've ever gotten. The highest tide of the year is on the night of the hurricane. So look, 10:30 a.m., we have a record high tide. What's 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday saying? Massive, massive storm surge. All right, so evacuation zones. If you live where it's red, you probably should not stay there. Go inland a bit. Go to Tampa. Go to Brandon. Get off of the beach. Jack, why are you telling us to get off the beach? You're probably not going to leave. I'm an expert. I have a 100-year storm building that I can go hide in to keep me safe. I will be getting barreled. I will be surfing. I don't run away from the storms. I run towards them. You should not be. Don't do that, though. Currently, 65 mile an hour sustained winds. The cone is pretty thin. Sometimes these things get really wide when they're really unsure of what they're going to do, but because of the steering current of Franklin, they're pretty sure of what's going to happen with this one. I mean, look, they're all, that's a tight track. You know, everybody makes these jokes like current hurricane predictions because they normally are going all over the place, all crazy. This is pretty condensed, pretty clear, pretty concise prediction of what they think that this thing's going to do. Another thing to note, that is where they anticipate the eye wall to go. That is the eye wall prediction. That is not effects of the storm prediction. A lot of people see this and be like, oh, I'm outside the cone, I'm outside the cone. No, this cone is where the potential eye of the storm could swing. Within 100 miles of the eye of the storm, it's going to see hurricane force winds. It's going to see crazy effects of this storm, and it shows it strengthening until it makes landfall, something we do not see very often. The storm is coming from a rare direction. It's passing through the Yucatan Gap, which will bring the biggest swell that can even possibly enter the Gulf into the Gulf, because the Gulf is small. I said this yesterday. Because the Gulf is small, when storms pass through the Yucatan Gap, it creates swell, the likes of which we don't really ever see. It'll be a longer interval than any previous swells that we've seen. The intensity maps, it's been ramping up. Yesterday there was 2 at Category 3, there was none at Category 1, and there was none at Category 2 and a few at Category 1. Today they're showing multiple models ramping up to Category 2, multiple models ramping up to Category 3, and the thing is about models and about predictions is they are only based off of what the storm is currently doing. So typically what happens with hurricanes when they enter the Gulf is they go through rapid intensification. They hit that warm water and they ramp up. And when they ramp up and they start getting all this extra energy from the heat, it can cause them to rapidly intensify, and then all of a sudden this model this afternoon, all these readings are up in the 3s and some of them hit the 4s. So 95 mile an hour winds. Oh, those are nuts. Okay. So we have a lot to talk about and a lot to look at over the next couple of days. Tomorrow is going to be very, very interesting for everyone who lives on the Gulf Coast of Florida, even parts of the East Coast. This thing is saying that Jacksonville, there's going to be a hurricane above Jacksonville on the East Coast. So like once it gets to here, still super gnarly. Still, there's going to be debris down across the entire state of Florida. There's going to be trees down. There's going to be neighborhoods underwater with this record high tide, supermoon tide. it could get very serious. So we really have to keep an eye on this. I don't like to hype things up, but it's past the point of hype. This is real. This is reality. This is happening in our backyard. 953 millibars. Okay, babe, we're knocking on the door of a Category 3 hurricane. I don't know if you guys know, but I've seen dramatic flooding from tropical storms. I've seen Category 1s flatten entire towns. People are like, oh, it's only a Category 1. Oh, it's only a Category 2. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to listen to people that do, okay? Oh, I'm a little excited about the waves tomorrow. The waves could be about as good as it can possibly get on the Gulf Coast of Florida. I'm not going to lie. That excites me. I will be vlogging everything as I always do. Main goal is to keep people safe. I will be staying on the beach until the last possible second. If you guys want to see me live stream storm chasing this storm, drop a like, drop a comment down below. We're going to get this video posted to you guys as soon as possible, and then I will be doing another update around 5 or 6 p.m. on YouTube because it's kind of just gotten that serious at this point. So love you guys. Stay tuned. Stay safe. Stay informed. Check out Windy. Check out the National Hurricane Center, nhc.noaa.gov. If you want some extra models, you can go to spaghettimodels.com. It's Mike's weather page. He does daily updates. Pretty cool dude. Not a surfer. So if you want the surfer's prediction, the waves are going to be firing. Tomorrow, Gulf Coast. Wednesday, Panhandle. Every day, jet skis. My jet skis. I got to go put gas in my jet skis. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon. Bigfoot.